PDP is balkanized today, the party that have so many governors, institution destroyed, artificial crisis manufactured, and we are proud that we are in a democratic nation. How could a country, how could a president be proud of this under his leadership? President Ahmed Tinubu, such thing is going on under his own leadership. This culminates into the situation that led to the reaction of the President of America, Donald Trump. People are being killed like ants. The answer is yes. Cut across anything, either religion or ethnics. It's a massacre everywhere going on. We are heading towards a very dangerous zone. Very dangerous indeed. We must tread very cautiously, very carefully. We don't want to trigger anything that we cannot stand for, that we cannot protect.
All right, welcome to Naija Unfiltered. And our guest on today's edition of the program is Alhaji Shehu Gabam, who is the national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, SDP. All right, SDP has been in the news after its success at the elections, but somehow a little bit not on the good side. What's happening in the opposition Social Democratic Party?
Well, I think it's a general cancer that is ravaging the entire political institutions in Nigeria. Very sad indeed. After years of restoration of democracy from 1999, for some of us that participated in the restoration of democracy, I was SA to lead Abubakar Rimi when the struggle started from G7, G18 to G34. We know what we went through. We know the quality of conversation that led to convincing the military to go back to barrack and allow democracy to be restored. It's quite sad, it's quite disappointing that a nation that is facing close to 30 years under civilian regime is yet to appreciate the institutions of freedom, democracy, and participation. So, the kind of situation that is ravaging the country is not far-fetched from our fear, day one, when we push harder for career politicians to be at the forefront of presiding leadership, or providing leadership for the country. But unfortunately, in 1999, most of the career politicians enveloped fear that probably there will be another military strike. So young people who have access to military government as of then took the advantage of the situation, took over government, devoid of morality, decency, patriotism, sense of belonging. And those are the things we suffered when we formed PDP. The first pioneer of PDP, Chief Solomon Lal, a tall figure in that order, was unceremoniously removed. Up to today, PDP have not had quality, stable leadership. Not to talk of some of us who left PDP when we discovered that the value, the essence, the fundamentals of PDP have been eroded. We decided to find another platform and develop it and make it a national platform. For that reason, we decided to join SDP after a lot of opinion polls that was conducted. And it was clear that we can be able to rejiggle the party and make it a national platform. Happily enough, we are lucky to have done that. And I'm so happy and grateful to God under my tenure. We won Senate seats, House of Reps, State Assembly, local government councillorship, which have never happened before with the numbers. And we built a very strong institution, participatory institution. And we contributed enormously to the stability of democracy. We add value to the government. We offered constructive advice that is not hostile to the government. We always said that we cannot pull down the roof, we will not participate in pulling down the roof because we will not know who will be a victim. So, it started gradually and it's going. Some of us that are career politicians, we have seen the signs from distance that this hurricane of destructing political institutions will be all over. It will ravage everywhere. Unfortunately, they have not picked the lesson of PDP. How PDP were too rascally, were too sagacious, with pompousness, that they will rule for 60 years. That led to the impunity. That led to the loss of election after 16 years in office. The same thing is happening. They are feeling that they are above board. They have monopoly of knowledge and wisdom. They don't care about what people say. So they don't worry about people's opinion. That will not stop us from offering progressive advice on how to move the country forward. And of course, it's not far-fetched from the situation that we are in the SDP. At the point we are the only position voice, that always draw the attention of government. In fact, the very day the subsidy was removed 100%, we voiced out that it would lead to catastrophe. It would lead to economic recession. Because there was no survey that suggests if you remove subsidy 100%, the life of Nigerians will improve in any way or manner. There was none. Subsequent regime that removed subsidy, removed it bit by bit, because they studied what the country goes through after removing certain percentage. It appears that perhaps the advisors of the current president told him that, look, take it 100%. There was no consideration of the purchasing power of Nigerians. There's no consideration that it will affect our market to the community level. More so, you are coming for a period where our currency was redesigned, breach of contract between a client and a bank. People cannot get access to their money. People sleep at the ATM centers trying to get 1,000, 2,000. It was a horrific situation Nigeria have gone through. Given all this background, a government that have think tankers or strong kitchen cabinet would have advised that the timing is wrong. Because the former president in the budget estimated a period to which the subsidy should stop. But the president have the power, to submit a supplementary budget to fund the subsidy to a certain level, meanwhile studying how to take away the subsidy, whether it will help the country or it will not help the country. So perhaps our progressive advice to the government became offensive to the government. They didn't find it easy or friendly. Despite coming from our heart genuinely, the country belongs to all of us. We owe it a duty to advise the government. This is not for them to take it, it's not for them to send it to the dustbin. So along the line, there's this struggle for coalition here, nor there. The coalition are also sort of desperate to get a platform. Of course, their fundamental priority is not really the SDP, because they believe that our national secretary have issues regarding the Mambila project that is under investigation. So they have this conviction that if they took SDP, eventually the government will use that opportunity to use him to create problems in the party. So for that reason, we are a second option to them, despite the fact that we've been engaging, we've been advising them how to do it, because there's a history of mergers. Some of them were successful, some of them were not successful. And the reason why people sometimes fall short of doing the right thing is because they ignore history. Those who were part of it, part of the success and part of the failure. So for that reason, we are engaging with them. We told them that the only way they can be part of any conversation with the SDP is to join SDP as individuals, so that we can have a robust conversation. What do? We look at the Constitution. Any amendment that is necessary. Logo, we need to amend it. Slogan, do we need to amend it? But you cannot change it from outside when you are not a member of the party. But they don't want to hear that. They just want to take over the whole institution. We are trained career people to build institutions, because Popular Party is a center of leadership recruitment. It's not a center of rascality or street behavior. So at that point, they believe that I'm not too open or too friendly to key into what they want. I'm worried about my own history, about my own background. Again, the government felt perhaps I'm opening the door or the corridor for their opponents, who are hostile to their policies and programs, and that is not comfortable with them. So they don't see me as a friend. I went through a lot of turbulence. I went through attempt of assassinations. And I reported my security were withdrawn. At the point people came to the office with AK-47, I wrote a petition. Security came to the office, took the CCTV footages of all that have transpired, all in the cost of ensuring that either I'm being crushed or my views are being crushed. So that was how the crisis of SDP started. And of course, What happened next was that individual was used to start creating problem in the party. And they are being pushed to say that they should remove me from the office because I'm not friendly to them. So there was no any meeting. There was no any official meeting. And INEC records are there. All INEC correspondents discarded all that they have done. Completely 100%. We have all the certified true copies of correspondence with INEC, with SDP. So that is the crisis, that people are not members of the party, were smuggled into the party to take leadership responsibility. We are product of convention. We had the best convention 2022 at International Conference Center. It was covered live by including AIT and other stations. INEC directors were there. We had the best convention. So that was exactly what happened. Of recent, I was not even in the country when there was a breach of peace at the party secretariat. Police were deployed between two people, probably two factions that also emerged on their own out of rascality, indiscipline. One was claiming also to be the chairman of the party. The other one was also claiming. So there was a fight. Police came and make arrest. Some people were taken to prison. Kuje prison, Suleja prison, and Kefi prison as well. So we thought this is too extreme. Not a political party to go to that extreme. So along the line, the National Secretary wrote a petition to the police. He said there was a financial embezzlement in the party. And when I saw it, I was live. The station also covered at the office. I said, it's a welcome development. Police should investigate it. We have only one party account. All our transaction is within that party. We are not a party that have so many accounts. And our account covered all our expenditures, including allowances and so on and so forth. Every NWC member is a product of that account. If we are buying a broom, it goes through that account. In any case, chairman don't initiate memos. It is the department that initiate memos based on their needs. So for that reason, I supported strongly for police to investigate the account. Police are going through the account, but instead of them, the secretary who petitioned to the police to wait for the police report, he decided to form another kangaroo committee. Some of them are not even members of SDP, that they should investigate SDP account. They did what they did. They gave the report back to him. And he said he did even a white paper, as if we were a civil service establishment, to indict people, including staffs who are innocent, without waiting for the police to do their own job. So you can imagine the level, the conspiracy to undermine the institution by somebody who was the chairman of the party. He was the chairman of the party, and I was his national secretary. And let me tell you this. I was the national secretary to Chief Falai, a very refined Nigerian elder statesman. I stood by him at the point of crisis because I don't want to be part of a history of undermining his credibility at his age. I have never undermined him. I was also the secretary to Professor Tunde Adeniran. I was also a secretary to this same Chief Dr. Olu when we brought him as the chairman of the party. But in the petition, he excludes his own tenure. But the account will capture everything. So those are the things that he said, financial mismanagement and so on and so forth. I don't know where he was when we were building the institution of the party to make it so attractive. So that is the summary of what transpired. So I was out of the country, I think, when the police, as a result of the arrest and presenting those people at the court, police wrote to the chairman of INEC requesting to know the leadership of SDP. And INEC replied them with the list of leadership of SDP elected at the convention, to which I was the chairman of the party. Olu was the secretary of the party. So those CTC copies were there. full certified by INEC. So that is the situation that we are. Just the way PDP is balkanized today, the party that have so many governors, institutions destroyed, artificial crisis manufactured, and we are proud that we are in a democratic nation, a political environment that's supposed to attract investors. How do you get investors when you batter the political environment? There's no nation that will have political engagements in the battered political environment to get economic investors to come into the country. The fundamentals of driving investors into a nation is a viable political environment. So all the parties are in crisis. There is none that is on its feet except the APC, the ruling party. But like I've said, they are not learning their lesson, the rascality of PDP, how PDP lost the election, and they don't have the infrastructure that is required to accommodate the traffic that is coming. All those people that are moving into the party, they don't have the traffic to accommodate those crises. They are building a kind of time bomb for themselves. It is easier for the government to allow opposition to function, to reduce even the traffic and the crisis. But they want to have one party system. We'll wait and see how far it will go. But I feel sad, I feel sorry for this country, for people who have labored so hard to support democracy, to prevail. Today it's been taken over by people who don't want any opposing view. Unfortunately, some of them are our friends. They are envious to some of us. Have contributed immensely to the political development and stability of Nigeria. Been haunted for my views. I wasn't trying to be vulgarous. I don't use vulgar language. I deal with issues. I don't bring personality into national issues. So it is not just SDP. SDP had their own, still having on. PDP is at the receiving end today. All other parties are having it. I don't know where we're heading to.
Let's return to the SDP. Can the SDP come out of this crisis?
It's very possible. It's very possible we'll come out of the crisis. We are making a lot of consultations. We will do our very, very best to see that we restore normalcy. If it didn't work, people will know that we did our very best. It's the reason why I don't talk much, because I don't want to butt at the platform. It's one of the reasons why I was reserved. So that probably those behind it that are pushing it will have a sense to understand that it is a platform that we have developed, that have people elected in parliament. We won election in Kogi, it was taken away. We won election in Ekiti Shegun, only it was taken away. So we gave a fight, to make sure that process will be respected. But what can you do when the federal might feel that no, you can't have your way? When they continue to have their way, I don't know how free it can be or how bumpy it can be. So it is possible we'll come out of it. The stakeholders are talking, are making consultations. It is not personal. It's about retaining the institution, retaining the legacy. And probably if the party is low-key, by making some adjustment, have credible someone who can run for president, you will see a lot of shifts. Because the demographic have shifted. The mindset of the people that control 70% of the votes have shifted. They're just looking for a moral booster, a visionary leader that can bring them into the system so that they can also pursue their own ambition. That's what it is. It is not beyond revival. It is possible. It can be revived. And also, it might not be possible if the extreme elements that are pushed into the party believe that the agenda is to kill the party. But posterity will be kind to some of us who protected the institution, that created space for people to contest and win the election. History will be kind to me under my leadership. And I did not fire the first shot. I didn't create the crisis. And there was no reason for me to do that.
One of the things people are worried is the direction the country is headed right now. Everybody seems to be defecting to the APC, governors defecting, lawmakers defecting. And we have provisions in the Constitution what happens, how people can defect. But it seems not to be potent. Are you worried about this gale of defections across all the parties?
I am absolutely worried. It's not healthy for the country. It's not healthy for democracy. Most especially governors that enjoy the same immunity with the president. What is their affair? Why do they leave the parties that brought them to prominence? They have the same immunity with the president. And you have judiciary that is, I don't know how to describe it, that is allowing this lawlessness and recklessness to continue to envelop our society, killing political institutions. Hardly you will see sound judgment regarding people defecting from one party to the other. And at the end of the day, the collateral damage will be massive. The collateral damage will be inevitable. Because if a governor is leaving a platform that he won election in his own state, transferring the whole arsenals, both the negative and the positive, into the new party he's going into, and those that are in that party will also react angrily because you are displacing them, then you know what the consequences will be. I thought the priority of the government and the president and commander-in-chief is to create an environment that history will be kind to him. Because the regard and the respect I had for the president and commander-in-chief, because he have gone through this before, to an extent that he went to exile. He came back, he was lucky. In 1999, he won the election as the governor of Lagos State under opposition party. So my thought and my conviction is that the president would have protected opposition party more than any other one, because they have gone through the rubbles, they have gone through the potholes. What he needed to do is to galvanize and strengthen opposition party so that they can add value to the nation, they can add value to the conversation. But probably he forgot history. All they can do now is to suffocate opposition parties. And I don't know of what benefits. Parties have no subvention. In Nigerian law, party cannot do business. You rely on membership cards, donations, or contributions. No any other way. We struggle to pay salaries. There's no subvention anywhere. And up to the point of this crisis, there was no single month that came and gone without me paying salaries. I inherited salaries from all my predecessors. So we are employers of labor. That should have strengthened the government that is trying to make sure citizens get engaged. We have so many staff we employed. During elections, we employ a lot of IT students for uploading our documents to INEC. So not just a party, but we are also employers of labor. I think there's a need for, I don't know what the situation of the Electoral Act is going through today, the amendment. There's a need for them to look at it patriotically. When you kill a political party, it means that you will hardly get a decent person who will come and contest under that political party. There are two fundamentals that are not connected. There's a difference between contestants and managers of political institutions that attract you to come and contest in that platform. Contestants don't know party management. All they know is to criticize. And they will run to a party that has some better management, where they can exploit. But in times of having the combined experience of an operative, contestant, and also manager of a political institution, it takes a great mind to have this combination of characters. We went through it. I was director of contact mobilization operation of IBP. I was the deputy director general of Rimi presidential campaign. I was the deputy director general of Atiku presidential campaign. I've gone through all the processes and the ladders, perhaps the youngest chief of staff as of then when I was the chief of staff. So I've acquired a lot of experience in managing the diversity related to political interest and development. There is no perfection. I'm not a perfect human being, but I try to live within the principle of fairness, justice, and equity. So, and that is our own training. That is our own background. That is the way we are taught how to run politics. But today, contestants are the one trying to hijack political institutions to which they have no experience of managing it. So that's why the crises are almost inevitable. They are not going along the distinct lines. You are coming to buy from to contest for a position. But the institution you are buying from have enormous responsibility, transferring the process to institution established by law, that is INEC, have responsibility to conduct elections, declare the winner of the election. INEC cannot do it outside political parties. Without parties, there will be no INEC. Without INEC, there will be no political parties. So it's a collaboration to ensure we have a smooth elections that is fair, credible, and acceptable to the majority of Nigerians. But unfortunately, everything is upside down.
Do you think that the crisis across most political parties is sponsored from outside, or is it just the political parties themselves pressing the self-destruct button?
Every crisis that you see in political parties are sponsored from outside. Everyone are funded from outside. All are funded from outside. That is the tragedy of the whole thing. That is the tragedy of the whole thing.
How do we manage some of these crises to avoid this particular issue?
The masters of influencing crisis in parties, they should learn to be patriotic. They should learn to love the country and strengthen democracy for everyone good. So long as they have that monopolistic tendency that if you are not coming my way, I will destroy you, I will destabilize you. It's not about individual, it's about the institution that you are killing. And there's no hiding place. Either now or later, posterity will unveil those behind it. And Nigerians will know. So if they believe that they have a hidden place, unfortunately the world have shrunk to a small space. The social media have shrunk the whole world. You can't go far. History will bust you out. So perhaps if they believe in the sophistication of the system and democracy and the rule of law, then they will not get involved in funding crisis in political parties. Otherwise, there's no need of registering more political parties. We are by design a multi-party country. So if it is not helping the country, those in power feel they don't need it, they should amend the law and allow one-party system, if that will help the country. But we thought that two-party system or three-party system or more will be more accommodating to our peculiarities as a nation. We saw the two-party system under President Babangida regime that have united Nigerians more, a little to the left, a little to the right. That was the best political space we have had. But because our greed and our desperation, we say, no, we don't need it. At the point we have almost 99 registered political parties in Nigeria. I don't know how healthy it can be. Still, I'm expecting more parties to be registered now. So you can see how damaging the environment can be. And then even the parliament that ought to have experienced people in running the parliament. 2022 electoral had amended almost 70% of the parliamentarians lost the election. The new people that came in will be struggling on how to even to be part of the parliament, the rules and the conventional issues that is related to the parliament. And that's why you see the whole parliament is at standstill. There will be no debate on issues, quality of conversations, taking corrections, fixing issues. These are consequences of undermining institutions. These are the major consequences, and we will pay for it, all of us. It's not just one individual.
The crisis in your party seem to be pitching you against others. You seem to be the lone voice. How are you working towards managing this crisis and ensuring that the party still comes out strong to remain the love that he enjoyed in 2020?
I think if you study the SDP, I've always been the long voice, even in projecting the image of the party. There was no visible voice more than myself, attracting people into the party. Number two, the party is into two factions or even three factions now. That's the point. As a trained person in politics, as a career person, you have to use sophistication in order not to allow yourself to be rubbished by people who everything goes. The secretariats have been sealed by the police. And the police took sides on who to allow inside to enter the secretariat, who not to allow to enter the secretariat. And acts of violence and thuggery keep on reoccurring. And I don't want a scenario where people will plot some sort of anarchy, people will be injured or probably killed, and then they will say the chairman is in the office, such thing happen. Now the police that are supposed to be unbiased are taking sides. I wrote to the IG, I wrote to the Commissioner of Police severally on this. I have all the documents, I have the acknowledgement copy. The former Commissioner of Police brutally took sides on the whole issue. It's the same former Commissioner of Police, Ajao, who wrote to the INEC seeking to know the leadership of the party, got INEC response with certified true copy. The same police tendered the same to the court, where they are prosecuting some people who are claiming leaders of the party. But those that are impersonating, they couldn't go after them. They leave them, but they were not part of the party. This is the lowest you expect from law enforcement agencies that have statutory responsibility to ensure peace and order. For that reason, and being in the country in the system for quite a long time, I don't want to be part of complicated situations where I will be accused of supporting anarchy or instability. So, like I said, there are court cases going on regarding that incident, both in Karu Magistrate Court, Kuje Magistrate Court. Some of them were taken there. This is a job taken too far. You know, in politics, you must differ with someone. The interest can never be the same. Interest always shifts and always comes back. If there are issues, the civilized thing to do is to sit down and discuss them. But if people take extreme position because they are afraid of what they are going through, investigation going through them, and they believe that by doing that, the government that is prosecuting them will have a soft stand on them, then it's unfortunate. You have to look at our scenario specifically, where there are vested interests to make sure that they strangle the political party. Similar to what was going on in PDP. So, PDP have the same issue. They say they have expelled this one have expelled this one have expelled this one. How could a country, how could a president be proud of this under his leadership? President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, such thing is going on under his own leadership. Even though I heard him saying that it is not his job to support opposition. I was shocked to hear that from him. I thought he's too sophisticated. It is his job to provide a conducive environment for parties to function, because he doesn't know how tomorrow would be. It was PDP before. Today is APC. Nobody knows which party tomorrow. Nigeria is too sophisticated for any individual to monopolize it. History have taught us that you cannot monopolize Nigeria, no matter how strong you are.
All right, let's look at the state of the nation. From your perspective, generally, what's the assessment of the state of the nation currently?
Well, fundamentally, you know, Article 1 of our Constitution talk about protection of life and properties of Nigerians. The biggest challenge our nation is facing is insecurity. Virtually every day, you will hear negative news. I just saw yesterday a video of a deputy speaker of Kebbi State being stripped only with pan terribly. I've seen the videos that are nasty, as if we are a banana republic. Nigeria is a very strong nation. Our armies excel all over the world. No reason, no justification that we cannot crush non-state actors challenging the state of Nigeria. There's no justification. We have seen countries where non-state actors have made an attempt, but they couldn't succeed. The border areas that we are talking about, the former CDS Chief of Defense Staff, was a marvelous analysis he made. It's containable. We live in an era of drones and what have you, surveillance that can give you accurate situation of what is going on. What stops us from taking advantage of the drones to provide security, to provide intelligence? There are weaponized drones that can also be used. Was it that Nigeria is wretched, is poor? The answer is no. Is it the will? The answer is yes. I believe there is no strong will to deal with the issue. Probably some people are benefiting from it. There are so many efforts that have been made to subdue the situation. I could remember at the point during Jonathan, there was massive move and oppression to flush them. They were flushed. We had election in Yobe and Borno states. They bounced back. So, one, if there are no absolute intentional policy from the government to deal with the issue, you cannot deal with it. General Abacha said that any crisis in any nation that lasts more than 48 hours, there's a vested interest. I have seen war in Sierra Leone, where parents don't care where their children are, children don't care where their parents are. I shed tears, nobody beats me. It takes an insane person to think of anarchy in his own country. We have the resources to get the best for our security agencies. If you go back to the Nigerian police force, they are in for the worst. There's no training, there's no equipment. You see a policeman who is supposed to provide internal security looking like a beggar, no kids, nothing, and we're a serious country. The entire population of security agencies is less than 1 million. Of a nation that is heading to 300 million population or above. How do you deal with that? And you can easily energize, develop manpower in paramilitary establishments, the civil defense, even the road safety. You can arm them to stop crime from the highways. There are multiple of channels. The constant immigration that deal with crime and criminalities. But I've not seen the blueprint, what they intend to do. You can imagine a fundamental crime will happen in the states. People will be killed. You have a commissioner of police in the states. You have director SSS in the states. You have brigade commandants. You have AIGs. You have multiple layers of security agencies. The culprit will get away with it. Where is the deterrence? Any nation that have no deterrence is not prepared to restore law and order. This culminates into the situation that led to the reaction of the President of America, Donald Trump. I'm not in tandem with what he said, bridging our territorial integrity. That cannot happen. But then, was it true that our life is meaningless? People are being killed like ants? The answer is yes. Cut across anything, either religion or ethnics. It's a massacre everywhere going on. It's a massacre. And if there's anything more than genocide, is what is happening. I saw a picture of a woman yesterday on a video in the hand of captives. Elderly woman being beaten. Do we need to be taught how to defend our country? Do we need foreign intervention to defend Nigeria? Nigeria have contributed immensely to the security of African countries. We have brave soldiers, brave security personnel, sound and intelligent. So the point is that Trump's statement had his own value, but at the same time, I disagree for him to say that he will breach our sovereignty. What he can do is to support Nigeria to have the necessary equipment, necessary information to deal with these elements, extreme elements that is killing the whole country. Look at what is going on in the southeast. Country that is people that are known with their enterprise, running businesses, making money, almost being ravaged with poverty and insecurity today. Look at the Northwest. So we are talking about homogeneity. Northwest are homogeneous people. Southeast are homogeneous people. Why are they killing themselves? What is the reason? How do you justify such kind of thing? And how could such thing happen and you allowed the people in charge of our lives and our property get away with it. And the president is the president and commander-in-chief. The ball stop at his own desk. So that is one. Number two, the judiciary is not helping matters at all. I also saw the former chief of the Staff, General Musa, saying that they will arrest criminals or kidnappers or murderers. They will take them to court, and court will release them. And they will go after the people who are arrested. The former chief of defense staff. So, such thing is happening, presented in our parliaments. So the judiciary contributed enormously to this lawlessness without taking tough position and ensure that criminals do not get away with it. Thirdly, the National Assembly must live to their own expectations and oversight responsibility. You cannot allow things to keep on happening when you have the power of deterrence as a National Assembly. So all the fronts are weak. And when the fundamentals of the nation are weak, the executive arm of the government is weak. Corruption, sycophancy have enveloped the executive arm of the government. The same corruption have enveloped the judiciary. No matter how clean you are, no matter how good your case is, it hardly goes through. You have to do something extraordinary to induce, to defend yourself. And then the National Assembly, they ought to have come up with the strong laws, are not doing what they are supposed to do. And of course, the Nigerian police that are statutorily entitled to internal security. You see them, you have seen multiple of videos collecting 2 naira, 5 naira, 2,000 from innocent people. How do you blame someone who said you are behaving loosely? Are we not? Nigerians are among the best among other countries in US. They are in all strategic places in US, all around the world. We excel. How do we explain that we cannot, or we lack the capacity or the vision to drive the country? It's not right. The mineral resources that it endowed in Nigeria is one of the international politics of today. America have interests. China have interests. Russia have interests. So if we are not careful, as a nation, we'll be a battleground. If we are not careful. So that is the danger. So if the mineral resources that drive the world, the technology of the world of today, is in large quantity in Nigeria, and the superpowers have interest in it, what do we expect? They will ignite crisis. Something happening in Zafar is because of the gold and other mineral resources. I know before 1999 there was a security report on that. President Obasanjo was decisive in dealing with the rebellious people then. Look at what happened in Zakibia. Look at what happened in Odi. It's a result of impunity, and he acted as a president and commander-in-chief. And then the country was stabilized. Governors that I feel they are emperors, President Obasanjo dealt with them. The country became stable, respectful before the international community. What is happening today? Most of the governors, they don't stay in their own states. It is not just the president that is responsible to provide law and order. Governors in their states have every responsibility to provide law and order. The governor cannot be reached by his own people in his own states. Commissioners in the state cannot answer telephone calls from people in the village that will give them direct information. Local government chairman, his people in the local government have no access to him to give him information. Councillors cannot be accessed. So how do you generate intelligence? Intelligence doesn't fall from heaven. You have to get it and convert it into operation. So these are tragedies that we are going through that are man-made. We are not suffering from natural disasters. We are suffering from man-made problems that we ought to have dealt with long time ago. Was it because we don't have quality people? The answer is no. Look at the election that took place in Anambra State. Look at the video that is going viral. Somebody was distributing money, coke, and snack. People are queuing to collect just to go and cast vote. How do we expect to be respected as a nation? Election day, holiday was declared. Virtually everywhere, what is invoked today is a vote buying. Now, look at the voters' apathy or people who develop nonchalant attitudes to go and exercise their franchise. You have over 120 million registered voters. In the last presidential election, we end up with 8-point-something million votes that produce the president. Those are similar figures that produce President Shehu Musa Gabam. All the number of registered voters there. Today we have over 100 million registered voters. Now in every election, a number have 2.5 million registered voters. How many votes produce the governor? Check the statistics. And we think all is well, all is okay. And the ruling party, the ruling government, believe that all is normal. We are not worried. We are not scared. The diminishing return is extremely very bad. So these are facts that is haunting us. And then let us into weaponization of poverty, hunger. Our young children, younger ones have gone into crime, have gone into drugs, have gone into kidnappings, maiming and barbarism. Any nation that cannot feed its population is potentially available for anarchy. The young people that you see that you cannot feed, they will turn to a weapon. And that's exactly what we are facing today. This is exactly what the nation is facing today.
Do you think that probably the present government is working towards 2027, there will be no opposition? Probably we'll just have one candidate on the ballots.
Every indication have suggested that. Every indication. They keep on denying. But every indication have suggested that they have suffocated the entire political environment. Probably with international reactions, there will be some adjustments. Probably. Because it appeared that we are afraid of powers, global powers, than afraid of internal anarchy. We have seen what NSAS have done. Lagos is still recovering from that. We are not picking lessons out of it. So if I am the president and commander-in-chief, my preoccupation is how to make the country accessible, friendly. The financial sector must be regulated. The interest rate must be dropped. Now, the argument is that some foodstuffs are coming down. Yes, like maize and whatever is coming down. But what of the components? What of the foil that transport the goods? How do you make sense out of it? Life of Nigerians have gone to a point that they cannot do anything. The purchasing power have dropped completely. You are not talking about education. There is nowhere you can write. You are not talking about the health sector. People are dying because of malaria. Simple malaria. They can't access free drug of malaria. So how do you define leadership? How do you define the government? And then when you mention it, you are being seen as a threat. You are not being seen as patriotic, trying to highlight the issues, capturing the facts that need to be dealt with, need to be managed, need to be operated by competent hands. I watched Senator Indume, where he was saying that there's nobody that is visible in this government that you can say there's visibility. I have told the president a couple of times through this medium that 75% of his cabinet needs to go. He needs capable hands. I believe he succeeded in Lagos as a governor because there were capable hands. What happened today? Was it that we have a shortfall of people with capacity? The answer is no. Probably they don't want someone who can tell them, Mr. President, this is wrong. This cannot happen. They prepare psychopaths. When the president is wrong, no, Mr. President, you are right. And that will kill nations. And that's what is killing Nigeria.
Let's look at what happened last week between the FCT minister and a naval officer. How does he portray, one, the country, and of course, the civil-military relations?
When I saw it, I was shocked. I know minister have a chain of directorates under him. He was in charge of land, in charge of development, in charge of this and that. What I thought is that the minister would have sent the department responsible to deal with the issue, because it's a sensitive issue. The armed forces are the symbol of the nation. They are making sacrifices every day. They are dying every day. I came from a family that is serving in the Nigerian army, in the Nigerian police, in the SSS. I know the sacrifice they are making. Things that have to do with diplomatic processes must be dealt with diplomatically. It's not about asserting authority or power. They are citizens of Nigeria. They are entitled to land. If the process were faulty, it should have been addressed accordingly. But going to an extent of exchanging vulgar languages, that doesn't define leadership. Wike is my friend, and I believe the process was faulty. The approach was faulty. But again, it's our country. We have to work around it. Mistakes were made. Mistakes should be corrected, because this do not go well for the country. It's gone viral all over the world. That do not speak well for the president as well. You know, you should have leaders with decorum, with respect for the citizens, respect for the institution, that are symbolic in nature. I saw the response of all the former service chiefs. I saw the response of the retirees. We are heading towards a very dangerous zone. Very dangerous indeed. We must tread very cautiously, very carefully. We don't want to trigger anything that we cannot stand for, that we cannot protect. I believe they should handle the issue in the most diplomatic way. It should be sorted out peacefully. Anybody that have served this country is entitled to learn. You don't even need to serve the country. As a citizen, you are entitled to it. If you apply, you should get it. There should be no segregation. Who get this, who doesn't get this. I don't have a piece of land in Abuja. I have applied. I don't have a piece of land in Abuja, because I don't want to go through those challenges. So that have created a lot of uproar in the country. Absolutely. Unnecessarily as well. I also saw yesterday all over the media that the young man escaped assassination. I just saw today the police were having issue with him, that his plate number was covered. He didn't identify himself very well. I think I saw it on AIT. That same young man, that same officer. So something is not connecting. And we must identify what is not connecting so that we can connect it properly. In the absence of connecting it, you are likely to have accident. Because that day accident could have happened. That accident could have been tragic for the country. Probably the intervention of whatever the man, the minister spoke to, that probably advised him to leave the place, that was saved the situation. Things were triggered. Anything could have happened. Was it necessary? The answer is no. Do we have what it takes to solve it? The answer is yes. So do not derogate someone simply because he's not in office. Office is a transient thing. You'll be there today, you'll not be there tomorrow. But the legacy you left behind will speak for you. So I believe the multiple channels and layers of the country that is not functioning well, they need to look at it, they need to overhaul it. Certainly, Nigeria is facing unprecedented challenges, never in history that we know. I've never thought in my lifetime, that we will resort to kidnapping our own, killing our own, maiming our own. I would have sworn that it will never happen in my lifetime. Even in Abuja today, if you are driving, you get worried about your own safety. Not to talk of other places. Abuja is the most secure. What happened in other states? And we are a nation with army, with police, with all the security agencies. How do you explain that? Now the non-state actors are using drones. What are we doing to deal with it? If they are now reaching weaponized drones, you can imagine what will happen. So the diplomatic channels need to change. If our diplomacy with countries is not paying off for the country, you can change it. That's what it is. It's a mutual benefit now. Foreign relation mutual benefit. We live in an era where we don't have ambassadors. Probably the outburst of President Trump wouldn't have happened. If we have our ambassadors, diplomatic channel would have solved the problem. This is not the first time it happens. It started from 2020. It happens under Jonathan. It happens under President Buhari. President Buhari went to America and sat down with President Trump. Same President Trump. It wasn't as if it's a new issue. But probably there was no follow-up. We take things for granted. Nothing will happen. As usual, mentality of Nigerians, nothing will happen. But things are happening. We are not sleeping well. We are not eating well. When you have money, you are afraid people will jump into your house and kill you. When you are hungry, you cannot go to bed sleeping because you are hungry. So where do you get peace from?
Lastly, do you think that President Trump's comments has gingered what seemed to be action from government in terms of the area of security, in terms of trying to explain what they failed to do before now?
Absolutely. That future from Trump made the government to press the rest button. And then, of course, there's running helter-skelter. What do we do? How do we deal with it? A lot of comment from different segments of the society, how to respond, either diplomatically or otherwise, or to cut ties with the US, and so on and so forth. But again, like I have said, that tweet from Trump have reactivated sectors that were just sleeping, have reactivated the consciousness of an average Nigerian. For me, it's a political statement. It's not a weaponized statement. It's simply saying that we are failing as a state. We are not doing the needful. A nation that cannot protect its own citizens, irrespective of tribe or religion, is a failed state. That's the point he was making. Disgrace. A nation of, I think, attraction or something. But it's a fact. We knew that in the absence of having a decisive role or responsibility, we will not avoid what is going on. We don't need Trump to tell us that we are in problem. We don't need Trump to tell us that we are suffering from insecurity. We don't need Trump to tell us that we are suffering from hunger and abject poverty, while Nigeria is one of the richest countries on earth. Do we need President Trump to wake up from sleeping, from our slumber? Or do we need China to tell us, or Russia to tell us that we are not doing well? Some of us that have traveled around the world, we knew that our problems are man-made. Of recent, go to some African countries, go to Uganda, go to Kenya, you look at physical restructuring going on, physical discipline going on. Go to Egypt of recent. Go and see the standard of infrastructure going on. What is our problem? So we must admit that our problems are man-made problems, and they are solvable. That's a good thing. The government must have the large heart to listen to quality conversation, quality advice. Don't look at people who offer to advise free as enemies or against you. I have no problem with President Tinubu. I have good relationship with him. I will not call him names. I will always pray for him to succeed. Citizens should pray for their leader to succeed, not to fail. If they fail, the country will pay for it. That's why you don't pray bad for leaders. If something happens, everybody will pay for it. But he should listen more. He should do more. He should be more diligent, more disciplined in handling the issues. That's what we always said.